Welcome everyone to the Med Spa Accelerator Podcast, brought to you by Cassie Consulting and Everable Marketing. Today I have with me my lovely wife, Maribili, and today we're going to be talking about what to look for, the 5 things actually you need to look for before you hire a marketing agency. So we're going to go through the top 5 things that we've kind of seen. What are some of the really important things that you need to just keep an eye out for, right?
Yeah.
You know? And this really goes back down to some of the experience that after speaking to a lot of med spas, and owners, business owners, stuff like that, that kind of concerns that they've brought to us, that we want to make sure we let you guys know so that you can kind of keep an eye out when you're looking on bringing somebody on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we hear a lot of horror stories actually.
A lot of horror stories, yes.
I guess just like stuff that's happened to them with other marketing agencies. And as a marketing agency ourselves, we're just like so saddened to hear some of these stories because it's sometimes they're taken advantage of. And
it's so frustrating. To me, honestly, as a business owner, it's infuriating. And it kind of just gives us a bad reputation for everybody else, including us too,
exactly.
And so it really breaks my heart too when I'm having a conversation with a business owner who's, given in their hard-earned money and puts their trust in another, company to help them grow their business, but instead it's a total, quite the opposite. Yeah. And I mean, we get it. Sometimes things don't work out, and there's, sometimes there's good reasons for why things don't work out, and this is just part of business, but what we want to try to do today is try to minimize these situations from happening as much as possible. And at the end of the day, it just goes back down to education, knowing what to look out for, what to keep an eye on. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's go ahead and dive right in, right? So number one, I want to say, guys, before you ever even speak to a marketing agency, do your homework and for yourself, you know what I mean? So what I mean is come in with a plan, come in with a goal in mind, knowing, what is it that you want to accomplish? You'd be surprised. I speak to a lot of people, and one of the questions that I always ask them is 3 months from now, 6, 12 months from now, where do you want to be? What are you trying to accomplish with marketing? What is really the goal?
Where do you want your business to be at?
Yeah, where do you want your business to be? And you'd be surprised. A lot of people just don't know. They're just I want to grow my business. But that's not really a defined goal. Yeah, that's very vague. So you want to be very specific, and you want to really identify, okay, well, really, what do I want? Where do I want to take the business, right? And then here's just something that, I've heard this quote and it's been applied in other things, but it applies to everything. And even right now, it's if you don't have a plan, then you'll fall into somebody else's plan, right? And so you want to come in with the idea of already knowing what to do. And even that in itself is going to help you find the right agency that you should partner with, And so, go ahead.
And we were just saying as well, if you don't have a plan yet, your marketing agency for sure should be asking you these questions as well.
Yeah. And so that's a really important thing to look out for when you're talking to an agency. They shouldn't just be trying to sell you, right? They should come on, and the first meeting should always be more of a consultative meeting where they're asking you and trying to dig deep into your agency. I mean, it's one of the things that we do whenever we bring on somebody. We do 2 calls.
Call.
We do a discovery call, and the discovery call is already asking questions like that. 12 months from now, where do you want to be in your business, right? What have you done in the past? What has worked? What doesn't? What are some of the challenges that you face? So really trying to understand your business and where you're at. So things that you can really identify before you ever even come in and have this conversation with an agency is, what does your budget look like? How much money can you spend in marketing? In one of our previous episodes, I think it was episode 29, we talked about the 9 numbers.
28.
Yeah, episode 28. What are the 9 numbers that you need to know in your business? And one of them was your budget.
The first one.
Yeah, the first one, right? Was coming in with the budget in mind.
Yeah.
And so that's number one. Second one is your KPIs. So what I mean by a KPI stands for key performance indicators. So you want to know, okay, well, what are some of the things that I want to be looking out for an agency, right? Do I want more lead? Do I want more prospects? Do I want more patient opportunities? Do I want more sales? Do I want to, right now I'm at $50,000 a month in my business. I want to take it to increase that by 25% in the next 6 months. That's where I need to take it. Do I need to work on my operations? Maybe right now, one of the things that we were talking about just this week, we were talking about like, well, part of growing a business doesn't always mean increasing your revenue. It could mean improving your operations, bringing more team members on so you have the resources to handle more business, different things like that. So what are your goals in mind? And then again, like what I said, like identifying 3 months from now, 6 months from now, what do you need to happen? And then how can the marketing agency help you get there?
Yeah. And then another one that we just kind of like add in there, us, because we are business owners, it's where do you as a business owner want to be in those 3, 6, 12 months from there? So how can that marketing agency help you achieve that? Whether that is working also, not only like bringing in more patients, but what will that look like for you and your lifestyle?
Yeah. So I mean, like, how does that look for you on a day-to-day basis? Like, because one of the things that we were talking about, it's like, well, in what area of the business do you want to be involved in, right? Like maybe now you might be doing consultations, but you don't want to be doing consultations. Right now you might actually be providing the service, but you don't want to be providing the service, right? You want to be working on the business, not in it. So that might mean that, you might need to do some type of balancing act of bringing in more revenue, but at the same time trying to train somebody else under you so they can start doing more of that, and you're doing other things in the business, right? So these are all things that you need to consider. And then once you've identified those things, again, asking yourself that question of how can the marketing agency help me get there, right? Definitely. So really, really good. So again, number one, come in with the plan, come in with the goal in mind, right? Number two is going to be, our recommendation is work with somebody who specializes in your industry, guys. There's a multitude
so many
of marketing agencies in the market right now, and you'll be surprised. More often than not, regardless of what industry you're in this case, obviously this Med Spa, if you're listening, you're probably a Med Spa owner, right?
Yeah.
So there's marketing companies out there that specialize in your niche, like us, right? So we specialize in this niche. But I want to even say further than that, you might even also consider working with somebody who niches the niche, right? Is one of the things that we say. Where, like, for example, one of the things that we specialize in is in cool sculpting, so non-invasive fat reduction technologies. That is like our bread and butter. Second to that is things like injectables, right? Yep. And so you might need somebody else that really specializes in lasers. We have done some lasers and services like that in the past, but it is not our specialty. You know what I mean? And 100% honesty, right? Like, it is not our specialty. So you might want to find another agency that, you know what, man, these guys just crush it with lasers, like, and so we do a lot of non-invasive fat reduction, injectables, facials, different things like that. So that might be definitely something that you want to look out for, because there is a marketing agency out there that really specializes in what you need. Right. So
and going back to the first one is like knowing your goal. Like if maybe you notice that what you're lacking of marketing wise is that cool sculpting because you just got that machine, or it's just not as the sales are not as great, then go look for a marketing agency that specializes in
you beat me to the punch there, because I was going to say part of like number one should be what type of clients do I need more of? Right. I need more injectable clients. I want to grow my injectable side of my business, or I want to grow my cool scoping side of the business, Right. So that's another really good one too.
But for sure, I would just recommend don't go with a marketing agency that specializes, and I'm air quoting here, on a lot of different things. Like you can't compare marketing electronics with a Shopify store with a Med Spa. Like that is way too broad. And even within the Med Spa industry, like Luis was just saying, like niching that niche, because we do our research on the latest technologies, the news that's out there, and there's just so much that we can't honestly specialize, again, air quoting, on so many different things.
Yeah, and that's the thing, guys. Like, the market is changing so rapidly every single day, and you need to work with somebody that is always identifying new opportunities and making sure that those opportunities are battle tested. And this is one of the things that we tell our clients all the time, that we're not expert marketers, we are expert testers. And the thing about that, my point is that when you're working with a marketing company that specializes in your industry, it's not so much that they have everything figured out, but it means that they have a head start than everybody else in, that also does marketing, right? And that's what it means, that they've battle tested things. They know what works, they know what doesn't work. And so it's really important.
Constantly researching and knowing that industry more and more and more. Like, that's what we do. We're not reading articles about like 1,000 different things. Like, it's all about your industry. Yeah,
100%. And that's the thing too. Like, I've done so many phone calls with other people that have worked with other agencies that did a multitude of things, and it just didn't work out for them. You know, like, it was just a horror story. They weren't sending good leads. Or because the other big one is like big box marketing agencies, right? That just do a whole set of things. Yeah. And so, I'm not trying to trash big box agencies. There's some really good ones out there, right? But it really goes back down to what you need in your business. And now I want to set a subset to this. I want to say that a subset to this is not also like the type of industry, but also the type of service they provide. Because you might need a marketing agency that really specializes in building a website. You might need a marketing agency that specializes in lead generation and operations in the back end and helping you grow that side of your business, right? Or you need a company that does social media marketing. So find an agency based off of what your needs are, and then work with that person so they can help you grow that side of the business.
And actually that brings us to our next point.
Which is
building a relationship, working with somebody that you actually like and trust.
Yeah.
This is a big one, because I feel like you're gonna want, once you do all this research on a marketing agency, you want to work with them like long term for a couple of reasons, right? One of them being like, you already did all this research, you need to work with somebody that you trust and knows your business and is cares for your business, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're gonna want to like this person.
Yeah. And this is probably like, the idea is that obviously when you find somebody that you enjoy working with, that you're gonna be working with them for a long time, right? And so obviously you want to work with somebody that you get along with, like, right? Yes. That has the same core values as you, that, understands the business and understands you and what your goals are and what you're trying to accomplish, right? So because, really big one.
Yeah, because in marketing, it's also a lot, like you said, about testing. Yeah. It requires time. Yeah. So you want to make sure that you're giving that time for your business to be able to be tested in a lot of different marketing ways. And by that time, you're going to want to be working with somebody that you can just also have a good relationship with.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that I'm super happy about in our business, that majority of our clients, like, we get along with really, really well. And we have a really good relationship with them. So that's always fun.
We follow each other like on Instagram on a personal level, like we're commenting on each other.
We're always texting each other.
Wishing each other happy birthday, texting. Like we're celebrating all those moments, big and little, with you in your business. And also some of them I would consider friends.
Yeah, definitely.
Long distance friends.
Yes. Right? Yeah, really, really, really true.
And that just brings like a lot of other things, like we were saying. Like you're building that relationship with them, and we always hear this, that like nobody's gonna care for your business like you care for your business, right? And as business owners, we know that. But having somebody that cares for you and your business, it's huge, because they're not gonna make you waste your money in things that shouldn't be, or they're gonna make sure that like, hey, there's an error here, and it might be marketing wise, it might be within your systems, it might be in your operations, it might be in your sales, and having somebody like a partner that can see that for you and help you through it, I feel like that is a
like
game changer.
you don't just want to be another account for a big agency. You know what I mean? Like you want to actually
taking that paycheck.
Yeah, you know. So really, really important. So that brings up to our next not our next question, but our next point. Sorry,
Yes.
which is work with somebody who can align themselves as a strategic partner with you, right? And so what do I mean by that? Well, so for here at Everbowl, like we tell our clients that we're partnering with them, and we hold ourselves accountable, not just to sending them leads or designing a pretty ad. Because here's the thing, guys, anybody out there can design an ad that's pretty. Like the important thing is this ad working? Is it generating results, aka prospects in your business, or actually deeper than that, is it actually generating new patients, right? Like new business? Is it increasing your bottom line? And we've worked with other people in the past that had marketing agencies that all they really did was focus in on helping you bring in new patient opportunities, but then they never helped with anything beyond that, right? And so I want to say, work with somebody that works with you full cycle, full spectrum, from that marketing funnel, which is marketing, generating a prospect, and then what happens in the middle of that, right? Because there's generating a patient, there's scheduling that patient, and then there's closing that patient, right? So those 3 different phases there. So work with somebody who has a really good understanding of those 3 phases, and that can help you by implementing systems in your business across those 3 phases, right? Yeah. And so somebody, again, that holds themselves accountable, not just to how many leads they generate, but also how many of those leads actually become paying patients. What is the return on investment on your current marketing dollars type of thing?
Right.
Yeah. So again, strategic partner, and part of that also means that for as an example, like what we do is that we give our clients exclusivity, right? Like if we work with them, we're not going to bring on another client that's advertising the same service that we're advertising for them in that specific that same area. Right. And it just goes without saying, I think especially if you do cool sculpting, one of the biggest issues that we had in the past was the cool partners, right? That everybody was Zeltique or Allergan was regulating the whole marketing thing. And the problem was that, well, if I'm using this marketing company and then my competitor down the street is using the same marketing company, then how do I have a competitive advantage against everybody else, right? And that's the thing, like as a business owner, to succeed, you need a competitive advantage. And so for our clients, we want to be that competitive advantage, right? And that we understand the industry so well and all that stuff. So work with somebody that is willing to commit with you and that is going to tell you, hey, you know what, like I'm in it for the long haul, and part of that means that I'm not going to work with anybody else in your industry. Now, a lot of times that might mean that you're paying a little bit more premium dollar, but it's worth it because you know that they're not going to compete against you, right? It's
Which
just
makes no sense.
It makes no sense to me, right? Yeah, I don't know, but there's market companies out there that do it. So again, going back, guys, to number 1 was come in with a plan. Number 2, work with somebody that specializes in the industry. Number 3, work with somebody that you like. Number 4, work with somebody that is willing to partner with you and that actually works with you full cycle, right? Somebody that understands the marketing process, the operations process, and the sales process. All right. And then number 5 is going to be when you find that when you find that marketing company that you feel comfortable with, don't forget to ask them for case studies, for references, right? And for reviews, right? You want to see what type of results they've gotten with other businesses that are the same as you, you know what I mean? That have the same service as you. So what does their case studies look like? What do their reviews look like? Do they even have reviews? There's a lot of marketing companies out there that don't even have reviews and they're preaching you getting reviews. So it's just like, it just doesn't make sense to me, You have to have good case studies. You have to have good reviews. And that way you at least know that when those people when you're bringing that company on, that again, like I said, that they have a good head start. Not that it's always going to be perfect, but they already know what works and what doesn't, and they already have a better way of how they can get to, your goal, whatever your goal in mind is.
Yeah. Because don't forget that while you're looking for a marketing agency, it's kind of like you are interviewing somebody, right? Mm-hmm. So you're asking somebody that could potentially work with your business, their CV on their references, and you're gonna like call these other people. So don't be afraid of asking for that. And while during that discovery call, that should be something that they ask you as well, because it's gonna be, like we said, it's gonna be a long-term relationship. So you definitely want to make sure that you are both a good fit for each other. And asking for those case studies, those results, it's huge, especially within something about your industry. Going back to like niching, make sure that those case studies are about your industry.
Exactly. Yeah. And then so last thing that I'll leave you guys with, that I guess it's just kind of impromptu, right, is that look at your contracts, guys. Like whenever you're working with somebody, look at the contract, because I've seen it where these people, like some of our clients, have entered into these really long-term contracts. And I'm not saying that long-term contracts are bad in a sense, but like what I mean is like make sure that there's a good out there. Like a lot of the times, like you're working with somebody, they're not getting you the results that you need, but they're still charging you because you can't get out of that contract. There is no like clause in there that says, hey, if this doesn't happen, then I need to get out of this contract, because obviously then you're not helping me get the result I want. So why should I keep paying you? It's just, to me, it's just a little unethical, but I think, you want to be very careful what to really look out for in these contracts. So,
And actually, I mean, I know that we didn't have this in our notes, but kind of talking about contracts, sometimes contracts feel so like daunting. Yeah. And I feel like the reason why is because, going back to number one, goals were not set, expectations were not set, communication was not there. And I feel like a lot of these horror stories that we're talking about, it's mainly because of that. So make sure that when you are reading your contract, before you sign, like those expectations, that communication is there, and those expectations are there, because it's gonna go both ways. Like maybe your marketing agency is really good and they're delivering what they think that you need or you want from them, but those goals were never set. So of course you're gonna feel like they're not fulfilling what they said they were gonna fulfill.
Yeah, communication is key.
Oh yes, yes. So make
really,
sure
really
to
important.
Communicate.
All right, guys. So those are the 5 things that you need to look out for when you're bringing on a marketing agency. Thank you so much for being with us today. Again, check us out on Facebook. Join us on our group at Med Spa Accelerator. And on Facebook, send us a request and we'll get you on there right away. And leave us a review, guys. Let us know how we're doing. If you have any questions or want people to come on board so that we can interview, let us know as well. All right, guys. So thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll catch you all next week.